that. So the frame, I don't need to change. The important thing with the frame, stable, heavy, no vibration, because precision is number one. We are working with penetration of 1/1000 of millimeter. So we need to have stable. I know some other factories, they have tried to reduce weight by, with having holes in the material, and even this is 6 millimeter, they have less. And for me, it's not interesting because I need to have a stable, heavy machine without vibration. This machine is 550 kilo. If I make it with holes and a lot of things like that, maybe 500, and still I can carry it with me, so I don't, it's not. So we work with quite other things. The most important thing on the machine, okay, mechanical, a lot of things important, but to have a good stone, good diamond. The diamond is, the stone is the tool that creates the pattern in the base, and the diamond is the tool that creates the pattern in the stone. And I have spent tremendous lot of money on diamonds. And diamonds are not cheap, if you are in this case or whatever. This is a diamond from a precision, because precision is number one. We are working with penetration of 1/1000 of millimeter. So we need to have stable. I know some other factories, they have tried to reduce weight by, with having holes in the material, and even this is 6 millimeter, they have less. And for me, it's not interesting because I need to have a stable, heavy machine without vibration. This machine is 550 kilo. If I make it with holes and a lot of things like that, maybe 500, and still I can carry it with me, so I don't, it's not. So we work, the most important thing on the machine, okay, mechanical, a lot of things important, but to have a good stone, good diamond. The diamond is, the stone is the tool that creates the pattern in the base, and the diamond is the tool that creates the pattern in the stone. And I have spent tremendous lot of money on diamonds. And diamonds are not cheap, if you are in this case or whatever. This is a diamond from another brand, creating quite okay structures in the stone and working. If you don't demand workup skis, or it's okay. But this is the diamond we are using. And it's this needle, you see it's 10 millimeter, multiply 3, multiply 2. And out of this needle, we are using, I can send it around. I don't think someone put in the pocket. I don't.
No use to them.
There's a little black part in the middle, that's the diamond needle. So, this is not a secret, but it's one of the things making this machine. Now, other producers still using this kind. Some now copying ours and or mine, and with more or less success. This is the black part, and the metal. When we see the metal and know what to look for, you see it's not only a part of metal. It's a number of different metals and things to fulfill the demands. With this one, a lot of material. They have two needles. These black parts here. The material is only for cooling the needles. And I say, okay, with this little material metal, when the needle can't be cooled. We have another solution for cooling, so we don't need that much metal here. Always to do the skis, it's a procedure of 3 steps. The first is we have a pre-work structure to remove scratchy base, skis concave, skis convex to make them flat, to have bigger surface to glide on, normal physical rules, the bigger number of square centimeters, less pressure on each square centimeter. So for sure, one thing to make fast skis flat and flat as much as possible to put the pressure on the snow as big area as possible. So first we remove, make the ski flat, and this is also, even if you do and see this one is not okay. They are worn out, they are lower and going in. And if I show with my fingers, if this is original, they are getting lower and like this. Meaning to put the wax into this soft area, we have only a little area like this, more difficult. And also for the wax, if you have it here, to do the work. I always speak about the skis upside down. So I have like this. So what we do with the grinding, remove this and come through. I mean, maximum 5 micron. We are removing more than 5 micron, even if we remove small part with this machine. But then there is new in the cluster. There's new north south available to absorb the wax and make the skis faster. So this is maybe the most important thing with grinding. Okay, the structure is important, but flat base, open base, possibility for wax to penetrate. And now we enter into, because still some people say the last thing of the procedure. Now maybe the pair of skis has been proceeded 15-20 minutes. And the last thing, the racing structure. 1 or maximum 2 times passage. So that's the last. And the structure, okay, important for warm conditions, more rigid structure, for colder, finer structure. But I know 100% the Swedish national team for the last winter, they were using 5 structures. Norwegian for this winter, I don't know, last winter 4 structures. And of course, more and more also completing with hand tools. But with this Swedish 5 structures, the list I show for you, the secrets for Matt, inside this list, these are structure from all over the world. I have kind of control of what's happening in this world. And on this list, Matt out of these 5 from the Swedish team, they have 4 on the list.
In the machine right now?
Yes. Oh, it's programmed. yeah, it's programmed. This machine has 99 memories. So it's enough for 5 structures.
Right.
So 100.
So how long, when you're saying then grinding and then waxing, how much wax are they putting in before they're racing?
I have made a lot of skis for Vasaloppet, 90 kilometer. Originally it's only 89, but now 90. And for 5 years I was staying with my truck in Sälen, starting area for Vasaloppet, made skis until the last evening. And some people come, oh, they need to be tough, and I'm the idiot. And they say, oh, how much faster do this make me on Vasaloppet if I prepare the skis with you? Running time more than 7 hours? Yeah. Then good conditions, you cut half an hour. But you have to separate the skis tonight. Oh, but that's the problem. I can't wax 50 times tonight. No, you don't have to. Why should you? I know you make me happy because I have also always been working with Star wax producer in Italy for 20 years, selling their waxes. So please wax 50 times if you can use a lot of wax. But I do the skis for you, and I guarantee I can also do the separating, because 50 times for you tonight may be better to sleep tonight than 50 times. But I tell you, even if you have to pay me for 50 times, but I do only 3 times. 3 times, yeah, I guarantee. You go Vasaloppet 90 kilometer and come back tomorrow evening 90 kilometer and the skis are still black. Okay. This is...
Like this?
That's my product.
3 base coats and then your wax of the day?
If you have used skis after the machine, first a layer of graphite, if you have old skis. And then with the racing base or similar product with the racing base, 3 times. And with the racing, this is the difference with between sintered and extruded bases. Sintered, that's Latin for press together, and extruded, that's, you know, extruded in English to blow. And this is the kind of base used for racing skis, or for more exclusive or opposite, this is for cheaper skis. And the main thing with these ones, it's not a big chance to have wax into this. These are closed. This is the bad with this picture is, in a way it's okay, but in a way it can make interruption, because what it's supposed to show, the sintered base is built up of, let's say, containers. But it's not containers, it's pores, like the pores in the skin. And these containers, they are very, very, very fine. It's like 2 to 5 micron. So it's very, very fine. But what to see on this one is to understand it's a cluster, meaning when you destroy or remove something on the top, there will be new ones coming from beneath. But this one, some people say, oh, okay, I understand. These containers and what's inside the shine here, that's the paraffin, the wax. No, this is not containers for containing wax. If we make it, we don't, because then you know it's a cluster, a number. I rather use this one. And each of these pores, let's say like this, and then we have a number on them. We have first to be close together, because if they are wide away, this is the part inside is the amorphous zones. It can collect the wax. Between it's hard and just negative. But these ones, when using, even if skis, if you look at the structure, you have used them for
45 on there?
That bevel, is that bevel good or bad?
Good.
Good, especially on a skate ski, especially,
So rather than a sharp,
I'd say
have
about
it.
now
Eight
with
inches in front
90 degree on skis, they are much more difficult to ski.
And slow. Slower.
really,
So,
They need to have the possibility to float
but
a
they're
bit.
coming across,
so
not
step,
just going straight. So that skate ski, if that's got a 45, especially that 8 inches in front of the binding, 6 inches, it's gonna come across the snow easier. It's more traditional, just go that whole length.
so Stan at NMU,
Sometimes we'll go a little less.
he detunes the skate skis, the edges here, and then up here in the glide push zones. Under the foot, they leave the 90. The thing is, you take this to a 45, right? And then you hockey stop chatter, and it gets the edge. It's ragged. You need to clean it again. So instead of, you have to step the ski to try to save the edges. So the more edge you take off, then the less you have to work with next time. So you're already peeling. You ruin it again. We have to peel again. You ruin it again. There might not be any edge to
Yeah,
left.
it gets more and more
So-
difficult.
So we generally don't do edge peels. I don't even do it on my skis. A little fiber tex maybe before grinding, or just, I'm gonna, I'll leave a little bit, because then I will take the edge with a 45 at some time once I damage it, because I can't even make all the corners on ice sometimes. So.
If your edges are getting a little fuzzed before they get too bad, take that fiber tex, pinch it on there, back and forth. You're just gonna want to finish to that one. But that'll clean that edge up, and not that really trying to touch the base, just clean that edge up.
It's much better to grind the skis 2 times a year than they last. 46 divided with 2 is 23 years. But anyhow, better to do 2 times a year than 1 time every 5th year. Because for sure, they are much more, if we don't count on the better glide or whatever, but only for mechanical things, they are really bad damage, and they are for sure really complex. You have to, after these 5 years, you have to remove much more of the base than doing it 2 times a year in 5 years.
Generally from the center, sometimes that pore swells depending on the ski and the brand. And if you're taking from the center, you're going to run out of base in the center first, or you might have base and it gets more finicky and wavy because it gets thin. So if you've ever got a grind, have gotten a grind back from me, and I didn't grind all the flat up in the tip, that's for your benefit, not mine. I can grind your ski to death. Doesn't really make a lot of difference to me, but I take that very personally. Like Lars doesn't want to grind the ski. I'm doing that for your benefit, for the life of your ski, because that part of the ski up in the front doesn't have any real pressure on the snow. It's really there for a guide for the rest of the ski. So we do our best to make the best call, but sometimes don't grind that all out. Same thing in the very back of the tail where the ski's thinnest. It doesn't have core to dissipate heat. This is glue and laminates. It holds heat and it works quicker. So be careful waxing that area too, and then you're going to have a better performing ski, better grindable ski, if you will, because you don't need to heat that area up a lot. It's not dissipating heat. Also let your ski cool between passes. Don't try to get it all in one long pass, but a lot of what you do is then attributed to what I have to work with, and that'll be in your benefit, make my job a little bit easier, but really it's the benefit of the skier, their ski.
So at the end of the race, Alexei Prokhorov won the 30k. Björn Daehlie the first race. Björn Daehlie was the second. And the evening before the race, Alexei came to me. I made a lot of skis for Alexei, and he said, "No, I have new skis. Can you make them for tomorrow?" No, from 1st of February, only Norway. But I have here, you can have a telephone number. I have a customer in Melhus, 50 kilometers west of Oslo, Trondheim. Call him, and he made the skis for him. So in fact, all gold medals in Trondheim, except the 50k for Mika Müller, was made on Tazzari machine. So, and I have made all except Prokhorov. For the Russian ladies, Jelena Velbe was historical. She made 5 gold in Trondheim. And for the ladies, I had the skis earlier, so I made all for the Russian ladies, but not for the men team. So there was only the gold medal for Müller was the only one not. If it was Tazzari or not, I don't know, but the rest I know for 100% was Tazzari.
Question about saturation. What about hotboxing? Where does that fit?
It's good.
Yeah.
Then you don't need to do 3 times.
Yeah.
But after, this is not for hotboxing, the racing base need more temperature. So after hotboxing, you have to do the racing base. Because this one needs 120 degrees on iron. Hotbox is 55, so can't be used in hotbox. But
We have
so,
it.
Okay.
That's looking for it.
All I found is this instead. It's hard.
yeah, I have seen the boxes, so I know you have got the program from me from start, even if I haven't sold it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, today I'm not working with Star. I still, Star is a small family company. I'm still good friends. I visit them every time, more or less, when I'm in Italy. But I work with other producer because I had a bad car crash in Italy some years ago, and then at that time we were working with import for Tazzari, for Scandinavia, Star, and Rudy Project glasses. So after this car crash, I had to change. So I had 3 people employed, and these 3 ones they took Star and I gave them or whatever. I only wanted to have Tazzari because I was out for 2 years. I wasn't allowed to work. So that's why. And now it's not, as I said, Star is still very good products. But now what has happened, these people at that time working for me, starting to work with Rudy and Star, they have, now it's another company. And this other company in Sweden, I don't like this company, so they are unprofessional. So for me, in a way, helping Star is helping the Swedish bad company with. So now I produce own waxes. I have a own line of paraffins. So I will send next week even here. So after, for the season, there will be other boxes. Oh, we don't even have boxes. It's only plastic, this. It's cheaper.
Yeah.
Okay, you have some more questions about. Oh,
You okay?
You're not supposed to eat the stone.
It went in the wrong tube.
Oh.
Glad I was facing you.
wow.
You ruined the machine.
Oh, they're the machine.
Questions?
Is that the cleaning, the stone cleaning fluid?
The stone, that's the grinding juice.
It's Italian red wine.
Wow. So how many of these are around the
Sorry,
world
man.
now?
Oh, no worries.
Like the newer ones.
Excuse me?
How many are in the world now going?
I have in Norway, we have in Norway total 26 Tazzari of the new ones. But there was a generation before this one when we started with a new concept. So with that generation and the new, it's 16 in Norway. In Sweden we have in total 24 machines, and it's 12 of the new generation. In Finland I have 6 machines, 4 of the new generation.
How about you
And
guys?
in Norway, just to explain Norwegians about cross country, in Oslo I have 2 shops. Each shop 2 of these machines.
Wow.
2 people grinding skis 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Wow.
Oh gosh.
It's and these machines in Norway are really money makers. Because in Norway everything is for cross country they pay anything. I visit one of these shops last year. There were 4 gentlemen coming in to buy the new speed bags, 5 pairs each, to have for bags testing. And they were about 65, 70 years old each, demand 5 pairs each for bags testing.
How many in the U.S.?
4. Will be 4. Zach Colwell, Boulder Nordic, this one, and the second one for Boulder Nordic. So will be 4 in that one.
And there's
In Canada, 3. Will be a 4th this autumn in west of Canada. For one of the shops in Norway with 2 machines, the next year a 3rd. And I'd like to have a 3rd for last 3 years, but they don't have the space. They have 2 machines in the space from this area. So they have the machines back to back and working 2 different ways. And working on machines, okay, but to handle, they grind about 6,000 pairs a year. So it's quite of a logistic, but now they have bigger areas, so will be a 3rd machine and also bigger for logistics and that.
Are you guys gonna keep this one here, or are you gonna move it across?
Right here, I think. Just ease of moving skis around. Make that 100% decision down the line here, but
Pretty big,
as of right now, I think I want to keep it right here. Easier to communicate with customers, things like that. Yeah, I can look at it every day. I can keep an eye on whatever's happening, waxing and mounting and things like that too.
Matt, I gotta ask you, when I came here tonight, I thought it was gold plated.
No, not yet. This time.
Depends
Only
on
the
speed
diamond.
you,
A lot of
get to
stainless.
us to.
It's a diamond cut.
If you get to really know me, I like stainless steel far better than gold, but that's the
I have
work
it
for
up.
me.
According to gold, I have to tell you my email address. My name is Lars Svensson, initial LS. Email address is ls.goldmaker.
Gold medal maker.
So the World Cup guys have got you in a truck
Yeah.
next to where their cars parked, but for the typical Norwegian Masters skier guy, are they bringing their skis in every week, or before each big event, and getting it ground within that window that they know what the weather conditions are going to be? Because traditionally we get our skis ground once at the beginning of the year, and you might have a couple skis with a couple grinds. Are you saying that they do this differently in grinding now? It sounds like it's becoming the new waxing, where you're getting a grind for the day.
Normal master skier in Norway, they have at least 5 pair of skating, at least 5 pair of classic, with different structure, with plus, with minus, so they don't have to change the structure depending on the weather forecast. But for sure, many people in Norway, they come the day before the race to have the skis made, or the week before to have the fresh new base and open. The structure they have for all possibilities. And I mean, if they have these 5 ones or 4 ones used by Norwegian National Team, they can carry on with that. But they do a lot, and I know they spend, and it's before Birkebeinen, I worked with one shop to help them, because then it's really the week before. It's and then we made in the last 10 days before Birkebeinen 1,200 pair of skis. And 8 people working 24 hours. So, and in average price 1,100 NOK each pair. So it's easy calculation, no problem to have 24 people employed for preparing skis. So, and it's really, they spend money, and I've seen they are, I mean, for some years ago, both in Norway and Sweden, more like, not in Norway, but in Sweden was kind of cross-country skiing going down, and cross-country skiers like always in sporting goods and always like this, and not so very rich, and so now it's changing in Sweden also. But in Norway, I was in springtime, I was in one of the shops, came the big boss of Statoil, oil company, one of the biggest in the world. I mean, Norway are really big producers of oil, and he came out. I'd like to have the skis for my family. We go for a weekend. This was Thursday evening. I brought for prepping 6 pair of skis for the family. So 2 for each of him and his wife, and 1 for each of the children. And say, okay. I said, this was the boss of Statoil, and this is every week. So during the winter, every week, preparing of skis for the family, 6 pairs, at least 6 pairs. Can be 10, because the big boss needs some more. So it's. But to answer the question, they regrind, but not for the weather forecast. Maybe someone, if they bet many people, if they have only 2 pairs for each classical skate, then they are. That's not common in Norway. They have 3, 4, 5 pairs.
How many different grind patterns are you typically working with this machine compared to? Because you've got 3 here at Gear West typically, right?
We have a lot more now.
You'll have more
To sit
now.
through what our favorites are. All of them right now are World Cup structures being used in the World Cup. Got my old favorite Uni 2 programmed in the machine last night, and it'll cut cleaner, better, and better finish than ever. I just know that structure works well in the snow crystal that we deal with. It's the interface between that snow crystal and how it rides across the base material. In some conditions, there's grinds out there that have a bar line that comes across the ski at a diagonal. It's an interference pattern. That's in wetter conditions, just to break suction. Corn snow tend to have a little more open, longer cuts. Let that big snow crystal ride through it. Fine snow generally has a shallower, shorter striation, just to release that. There's also some new grinds that Lars has shown me for squeaky snow, where it has some true linear lines that will bring air under the ski to help combat that real poor gliding condition. So there will be a number of grinds. We'll have a core group. We've got to sort through some of those. We know now kind of some core grinds. I haven't decided how many we'll offer right off the bat. We've got to decide that. We've got a little time though. Matt's going to go do some wet snow, old snow testing at Hague Glacier. He leaves next week, and so that'll be a good benefit. But again, these are proven World Cup structures, so we just have to really decide which ones we want to use. What are going to be most ideal to our snow conditions here. That's a big thing. To answer your question, many times though, or to add to what Lars said earlier, changing the grind can be like changing the wax. It can be a bigger benefit than hitting the wax right on. You can maybe miss the wax a little bit if you've got the grind right. It's not going to be as big a deal as missing the grind, the structure. Having a lot of broken structure with corn snow, I found it kind of grabs. It's like little potholes. So that's why we use that bolder, bigger snow crystal, more channeled linear